The following show and broadcast is a production of Better Savannah, an independent expenditure committee dedicated to better policy outcomes at the state and local level. The views, opinions, and statements made by the hosts and/or their guests do not necessarily reflect the views of Better Savannah.
I appreciate our tourism community. I appreciate our hoteliers.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Thursday, June 10th, episode 41 for Better Savannah's podcast, our weekly discussion series. Tonight, our guest is the one and only Julius Hall, founder and proprietor of the ATR Media Network, one of the fastest growing media landscapes in the Savannah area and Southeast Georgia, Southeastern United States. He's also a candidate announcing tomorrow officially for the mayor of Port Wentworth, Georgia, one of several suburbs of Savannah here in the Chatham County area, and is a longtime Democratic official within the CCDC, is the husband of the 8th District School Board Representative, Dr. Tanya Howard Hall. Julius, welcome to the show. It's been a long time coming.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad to be here with you and John.
Absolutely, man. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. The first thing I want to get into, I know John's sharing a bunch of the stuff here. But the first thing I want to get into is just the founding and genesis of ATR. You know, where did the idea come from? You know, what made you pull the trigger, and what's been the evolution since?
Well, we saw that there was a void in how the news was given and disseminated to our community. So myself, Charlie Brown, we thought that we'd do a weekly podcast. And that podcast turned into us developing 15 shows. We're currently we currently air about 11 of those shows. 4 of them fell off. We got 4 or 5 more coming on before August. And, but we saw that there was no no fairness in reporting, and they were cutting out the meat to all the stories that was being given to us. So we thought that we would want to give the truth. So myself, it evolved a few months later. About 6 months later, Alicia Scott and Natasha Scott, Natalie Leggett, we all formed a little group, and we started making sure we started putting all these other shows together. It was other people that were doing things. Alicia Blakely was here first. She's the trendsetter.
I was gonna say, I think I feel like Alicia started doing this a couple years ago, just on her own personal page.
Right. She was doing it, and then we started after Alicia. Jay Jones started doing something. You all, so it just evolved to wanting to report the news and tell what was happening within the city on a even balanced level instead of one-sided every time, because they're going to report the way that they want to report. We're going to give it to you and let you decide. That's how Fox used to say it, fair and balanced. Well, we're fair and balanced. But we look for in the next before the end of the year, I'm hoping to have 20 shows on. I got 3 or 4 more besides the 4. There's 3 or 4 that's going on before August. I got 3 or 4 more that's going on before the end of the year. So we got some great shows.
Well, and unlike kind of, our channel here, where we are obviously very focused on Savannah, Chatham County, Southeastern Georgia policy and politics, your network is expanded to include shows talking about incarceration, incorporation, financial sins, financial literacy type programs. Just talk a little bit about how, that evolved to be just beyond, because your core show of like The Rabble, I think, was kind of that show you talked about, you and Charlie, right, and everybody you coming together. And you knew that was going to be a very stable part of the lineup, but talk about that genesis and getting to a bigger lineup of beyond the political and policy stuff.
Well, after we saw that we were doing something special, Chuck, and we saw that people, we currently have 29,600 people a month watch us of all our shows, which is kind of slow because, kind of low. It's high, but it's kind of low. 29,000, almost 30,000 people watching us a month. But that's a combination of all our shows. And we saw that we had something special, but we saw that some of the shows were giving out the same information, covering the same things. So we thought that, well, let's see what else we can create to make this platform more appealable. So that's when we came up with the other shows that for financial sins. We had a teen show that is on hiatus right now called Let's Talk About It. We got The Rabble, you got the Ink, which is incarceration to incorporation. We wanted to give you something different than just telling you something about Savannah City Hall all the time. We got shows coming on, we got a love and relationship show. We're going to have 2 of those pretty soon. We have the Butts out of Richmond Hill. They'll be doing one. But we have one that's an awesome show now with Michelle Monet, Henderson, and Von Jackson, called His and Her Perspective. We got Anthony Maben with Voices in the Struggle, him and Reggie Hassan. Alicia Air Scott, she has a show, her show, the Air Scott Hour. And we got a great show coming on the 18th, America After Dark. Y'all don't want to miss that show. It's comedy. We're adding a flair to it. We're letting it evolve into a platform. I don't think nobody else in the Southeast is doing this. So we'll see where it goes. We aren't making any money yet, but we'll see.
Well, I will just say, I noticed that in the month of May, kind of as school got out, that a lot of viewership declined for a little bit there. Those last 2 or 3 weeks of May going into the holiday, I just saw, kind of our page and a bunch of pages audience really dip. but I've seen it come back strong this first week of June. I think people just wanted to get a break from, the day-to-day. We see COVID really starting to lightening up with the lowest amounts of cases in about a year, a little bit over a year now. Even Mayor Van Johnson has changed his mask requirement, to an advisory, I saw. And we'll get in more to that. But I just wondered, what your thoughts were on kind of this summer, because I've noticed that, a lot of people do tend to check out, and these are kind of some key times to get some topics in and discuss what's going on. Because when we come back in the fall, the local municipal races like yours are going to be heating up. And believe it or not, all the primaries for next year are going to be heating up, in just a matter of time here. So just your thoughts about, other things over the summer here.
Well, you're absolutely right. The numbers did decline because we were averaging 29,600 people a month. It was staying there. And then for about 2.5 months, the numbers went down to 24, 21. But this month, the numbers are back up. I don't know what it is or what has happened, but COVID helped our platforms because people got to see what we had to offer. So they were stuck in the house. So they, by us reaching out, showing them what we were given, had to offer for them in the form of a different type of news that they can use. It helped us. So now people automatically just tune in because they're used to certain days for certain shows.
John, welcome back. We've been talking about kind of the genesis of ATR and, its impact this year and a little bit how the audiences. I remember how I told you our audience dipped really bad in May, and now it's kind of really strong back. He was just talking about the exact same phenomenon, just on a bigger level. So what's the first thing you want to talk about with Mr. Hall here, John?
Well, first I want to welcome Julius to the show and have admired the development and the progress of the ATR platform. And, we kind of ran in tandem for a good long while, and then we started to cross-pollinate. And I think the more synergy and focus that we can achieve, it's not going to be universal. We all know that, but there's so much wrong that your shows, many of your shows point out, and that we focus on pretty regularly. I'm happy that we're kind of hitching our wagons together to share information and control the narrative, because as we well know, if we don't, they're going to spin it, and it's going to be not good for our community or our people. So
that's
anyway,
correct.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we do be on the same page, because it's about the people. It's not about us. And people ask me, why am I running for mayor? I'm not running for mayor because of any income. I'm running because it's a duty that I've been assigned, and it's about the people. It's not about me. So you're right. We got to keep bringing these type of platforms, these type of shows, especially after we give all the news. You guys come and give the policies, which is awesome. So we don't have to talk about policy. We all talk about the policy.
Well, you guys do a good job of echoing, intelligent policy, whether it's term limits or impact fees, or trying to get CETA to be transparent and open up to independent audits. These are all good government best practices, concepts that we don't have. I mean, it's like the crazy impact fee thing. The workshop just said, the city manager said, yeah, for 30 years, the state's been collecting, various municipalities and counties have been collecting impact fees to make sure that the cost of growth doesn't fall back on the existing residences or people. And here we are, we're just now learning about them. I mean, it's really a travesty, and it tells you where where Savannah and Chatham is, and that's, they protect the builders and developers for the most part. Anyway.
And no question, they do. One of the things that we want to implement here in Port Wentworth is impact fees. We have a lot of warehousing coming here, and that it makes the residents here, the citizens here, a little uneasy. They think that there's too much warehouses. We got a big one coming now that will end up from off of 21 all the way around behind my home. And we're looking at impact fees for that particular development. It's needed, because you're gonna make some people, you're gonna displace some people. You're causing them to be uncomfortable. So there has to be some type, even if it's a TAD, the tax allocated districts, if we can use that money to make sure that the taxes that we collect stay in those districts, so we can do some things to improve the livelihoods of the living conditions for those residents.
Yeah, the the experts, at Department of Community Affairs or urban planners will tell you that, particularly with residential new growth, but it's true of all growth, the property tax base that will apply to that project, whether it's a house or warehouse, when it's completed, is just enough to fund the maintenance and operation of the impacts of that house. But there's no extra money for capital improvement projects, be it a library, a school, a park, a police precinct, a fire station, etc. And so,
I think the math is like it would take 20 to 25 years of tax-based existence to start to make a dent towards that cost of infrastructure improvement to support that growth. And that's just, why should we wait 25 years to be breaking even on something when we could break even on it now?
Well,
we shouldn't. I want, Julius, if you'll give us a primer. I've heard you say this line about Port Wentworth is not a nice city, and I think it's really something, because I noticed, like, I do not go through Port Wentworth a lot. I've had some family live there before, but we were looking up some statistics. It looks like there's about 16,000 residents, about 8,000 or 9,000 registered voters. Only 1,000 people voted in the last election in Port Wentworth. Tell us what you know about that community and its politics or lack thereof.
Well, you gave us numbers that me and John didn't have. John was telling me at the last census it was 5,300 people. My numbers before the census was about 10,500, and you're saying the 16. We do have a lot of registered voters here, and it is true. Only a little over 1,200 people voted, I believe, in the last election.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that we get 90% of that this time in this race. If only 1,200 vote, then I certainly would like to have 1,100 of those people. But we're going to do what we did in Savannah. They don't know it yet, but they'll feel it in a few days. We're going to do exactly what we did in Savannah with getting the vote out. We're going to do everything. We're knocking on doors. There's nobody in this region that can compete with what we're about to do. Nobody. So what we're about to do is bring a new style of politics here. They can talk all they want, say anything that they want to do, talk about me like they talked about Jesus, but we're going to get it done. One thing for sure, on November 3rd, you will have a new mayor. We plan on making some big changes here and build a city to make it a better Port Wentworth.
Julius, is the incumbent term limited, or
no? He's not.
Just not seeking re-election.
No, he's running. He just can't win.
Oh, I got you. There we go. So we're going to beat the incumbent. What's his name?
Gary Norton.
Hey, Julius, is it true that City Council only meets once a month
Correct. For the second fastest growing city in the state of Georgia, you meeting once a month to try to handle the business of the people. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I'm going to do is ask the city council to reinstitute two meetings per month, and it's a lot of staff that needs to be hired. This city is growing too fast for the city manager not to have an assistant, the city manager not to even have a secretary, for the city attorney to be running city council meetings like he's the mayor, for the city attorney not to have a assistant. We don't have a public information officer. We don't have a chief technical director. We don't have a secretary to do anything. This city, I don't know who the hell is running this place, but come January 2nd, it will change.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you really committed to bringing a higher level of business function and constituent access to city council. I think that sounds like a winning combination. I mean, who would be against that? Let me ask you this, Julius. In knocking around Port Wentworth, visiting friends, talking to people at a restaurant or whatnot, what do people tell us about Port Wentworth as a community?
Well, I talked to people, a lot of people. My wife and I were riding the bikes, and we rode our bikes across the highway to, because we live right off of 21, and Publix is right in front of our subdivision. Out there and we were talking to voters. I was giving out my card and greeting people, and without me even saying anything, the people are complaining about the administration. The people are complaining about the police. They feel like they're living in Russia. I'm serious. A few people told me this, that they are that this has become a speed trap city. And that's one of the things that I want to do. And I want to dispel this rumor that everybody thinks that, we're going to come in and we're going to defund the police. There's no such thing as defunding the police. Police is a necessary entity in every form of government, everywhere. You got to have the police or you have chaos. So there's no getting rid of the police, but you can reorganize it. You can reform it. You can do things to make it smart policing. You got to have balance, just like when you have balance with residential and business. You got to have balance with how you take care of the safety of the citizens.
Where does Port Wentworth get its judicial hearings from? Do you co-op with Pooler and their courts, or do you have your own courts? Or
we have our own misdemeanor traffic court, but everything else goes to Chatham County to the main courthouse.
Okay.
Let me ask you. You people. When you hear the word Port Wentworth, that first word always sticks out in the port. A week or so ago, John, you called it the Dragon. But we had that big record container ship coming down the river, and you seen the mayor of Savannah got on the ship and rode it down I thought the spectacle of Van Johnson and that ship was really quite something. But when I started, oh yeah, he's like riding in, it's like a homecoming queen. Yeah, no, I get it. When I think about Savannah and Chatham County's relationship with the Port of Savannah and Georgia Ports Authority, I think that there are four entities that have to be in sync. Really five entities that have to be in sync on this issue. And the first three are going to be the mayors of Garden City, Port Wentworth, and Savannah. The other two are going to be the delegation and probably the Chatham County Commission chairman. But if we could have those five institutions working in lockstep with hopefully a Democratic governor and Stacey Abrams, we might be able to get some type of long range deal. It's kind of how you just broke down with the defund the police. It's just this moniker. Like people they want to cry like socialism. Like what we're doing is California, Long Beach, the busiest port in the world, right? They charge $48 per TEU. We're not even asking anywhere near that. We're not even asking for 25% of that. We're asking for like $2 a container. That would be a pot of $18 to $20 million that could be split between Chatham County, City of Savannah, Port Wentworth, and Garden City. Those four entities really need to get money from this port to offset the cost of the growth that they're going through.
Yeah, because you're absolutely right, because you have wear and tear on the highways, and those three cities are the cities and the people that live on the river, closest to the river, are affected more. So container fees is something that we need to look at should we win the governorship. You just got to have smart taxing. I don't know what they want to do with the money. I guess that's why Georgia's we have so much money in reserves, because they're taking all the money from there and putting it in the reserves. But you got to have something that you're going to help the people that live on the ports of near the ports of Georgia, Savannah, Garden City, and Port Wentworth.
Yeah, let me. My memory when I got on the county commission 20 years ago was that Garden City had no millage rate, no property taxes, because they lived and operated the city off of their cut from container fees.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the Freeport taxes, which we have now been exempting. Yeah, exempting for the last 20 years, 15 years now.
So I wonder how, the vast majority of citizens in Garden City now feel.
And Port Wentworth,
because now they've got a millage rate. I think it's 3 or 4 mills. Do you know the millage rate out in Port Wentworth, Julius?
No, I don't. That's something I need to look at. We don't. And another thing that I'm investigating now is a couple of things that I'm investigating when it comes to that. Is Port Wentworth, the port is really Garden City. I don't know. I'm trying to find out exactly what we collect, because some of the containers are in Port Wentworth, some of the container yards. So I know that they have to pay something, and they are paying something. I need to find out what it is, because right now we have our biggest employer, I think, is either Amazon, the big warehouse on 21, or either the sugar refinery.
Mayfair? Is it Mayfair?
No. Chuck, that's a different story with Mayfair. That's a different story. Mayfair is in the city of Savannah. Believe it or not.
Do we run water out to it or something?
The city of Savannah had Port Wentworth and the city must be struck a deal. I'm looking into that also. It had to be a deal struck where Savannah owns a huge industrial park in the middle of Port Wentworth. How the hell that happened?
Well, maybe it's
CETA. Guarantee you it's CETA. I'm 99.9% sure it's because of CETA.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, we're supposed to, I haven't triple confirmed it yet, but we're supposed to have Terry Tolbert on the show soon, in the next week or two. This is the chairman of the Board of Assessors. All right. I think a lot of these deals go back to this board, because in reality, the property taxes from container yards should be much higher than property taxes like on a single family home in Port Wentworth, because you should be on an income approach. Right, John?
Yeah. Well, by the way, I looked it up. Garden City's millage rate is 3.6 mils, and Port Wentworth is 4.1. So you guys are pretty close.
Yeah.
I think the city of Savannah is at 10 or 11.
10.9, 10.8, something like that.
So you guys do have a low property tax rate, but in order to keep it there and fund the capital projects and growth that clearly Port Wentworth is enjoying, is you're gonna have to be a real smart mayor and look at alternative revenue sources, and I'm sure you will.
That's exactly what we're going to do, because right now we have Mayberry RFD running City Hall, and I'm serious. I look at these guys. I went to city council meeting. I'm looking. I'm saying, what the hell is this? I don't even know how they're able to even function. And that's one of the reasons that we're going to change that. We're going to make this thing. This My administration will be one that uh, functions for the city and not against the city because they're stunting the growth of the city with the things they're doing. I think they don't want they turned down building some houses in the Newport subdivision, but they let a hotel come right behind Bojangles right on the side of where the developer wanted to put homes. I don't know what their thinking is for that, but we're going to see because, like I said, we got to have some balance. Home, you got to have residential and business, but it
Yeah.
has to be balanced. You don't want to piss the residents off, the citizens of Port Wentworth off with too much truck traffic. It's a lot go through here already. Highway 21, one of probably the busiest highway here, besides 16.
I'd say for Port Wentworth, the logistics industry is to Port Wentworth what the tourism industry is to Savannah.
Yeah, well said.
I would guess if I lived there that they would gather. Most citizens would say, yeah, the government cares about the port and the logistics industry more than the quality of life for most residents. Just like here in Savannah, it's very obvious that they care about whoever's coming visiting spending money than whoever lives here spending money.
And that's true. But we are looking at, when I say we, me and my team, we're looking at trying to find some other streams of revenue, some things that we can do to bring the tourists. When they come to Savannah, they don't just have to go to Savannah or Tybee. There's nothing in Pula. Everything in Pula is new. But there is history here in Port Wentworth. I believe 40 Acres and a Mule was here. I believe the Eli Whitney and the Cotton Gin was here. There's a rich downtown area, especially when you right at the South Carolina border where we have a dock. If y'all saw my commercial, we have a riverfront there.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. We got porta johns out there for the restrooms.
Hey,
So.
Julius, let me ask you, in your new subdivisions out there, do you have a requirement that the builders have to put in sidewalks or a bike lane or anything?
I believe they do because we have. I don't believe that that is a requirement. I think they do it because most of the houses in my subdivision, most of the streets in my subdivision have sidewalks.
Okay.
There is one or two streets that I see that didn't have it, but I would say, and I think it's 500 homes in my subdivision, and it's across the street. It's 490, and they're building 70 more in Rice Hope. We got in Lakeshore, it's about 900 homes. And Newport is, I think, 600 or 700 homes. So, and what happened was these homes, these builders snuck in and built these homes, and we all moved out here. And you and I were talking earlier, John, where you said that the population percentage was in 2010 60% white and 32% black. But I think those numbers have swapped now.
Gotcha. Well, listen, it's comparatively, it's affordable housing. It's a safer community. I mean, in that 2010 census, you only had 15% poverty. I mean, that's the national average.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already starting out 50% less poverty than the city of Savannah.
Well, the reason for that, though, John, is when you have it was all built out for residential because everybody was downtown mostly. And then when they started building homes out here, these people bought homes. So in order to buy a home, you have to have a job.
Right.
So that you're not part of the poverty rate, so the poverty percentage. But downtown, I guess they would make up the greater percentage of that number because they've been here for 57 years, 60 years.
Yeah, it's a lot like Silicon Valley when Palo Alto and San Jose got pricier and pricier. Man, subdivisions all over the place, going down to Morgan Hill and even as far as Salinas, and people just commute into Silicon Valley. It might be a 30 or 40-minute commute, but man, their quality of life and their housing dollars went a lot farther outside of Silicon Valley, and that's just how growth happened. Julius, tell me this: are all the other it's a 7-member council, the mayor and 6 aldermanic posts. Are they all on the ballot, or are they staggered?
No, it's 4 now, 3 next time. It's the mayor, 1 at large, districts 1 and 3.
Okay, are those competitive races have multiple candidates yet?
In one of them, we have 2 Democratic candidates. In the third, I believe, it's just me right now for the mayor. In the first, I don't know but of one person as a Democrat, probably running against well, that seat was just vacated.
I was going to say, I think it's vacant.
Yeah, he moved to Florida. He just up and moved to Florida after the governor done appointed him. You had to know you were going to move. Why did you take the appointment?
Right.
So
you're partisan? You run as in a partisan election?
No.
They're not. No, he means Democratic leaning. He means
Democratic. We know their party affiliation.
Is Thomas Barbie going to seek re-election in the at-large post?
He just got elected.
Oh, he's not on the ballot this year.
No.
Oh, okay.
Him and Mark Stevens and Glenn Pig Jones, they just got elected.
Pig Jones, boy, it's a southern city when the council member is named Pig Jones.
He's the former mayor and everything.
The last thing I can remember Port Wentworth being known for was something about an upskirt scandal or something.
That
was Port Wentworth. This guy was taking pictures of ladies, private areas under the skirts. I mean, this is embarrassing.
That was Pig's administration. One of the city employees did that and sent it around to everybody. And the person that caught it was Councilman Barbie. He saw it on one of their pages and reported it. Now you have a whole law for that called the upskirt law.
Man.
That's funny right there, man. All right, well, I want to move on to Savannah because you are, kind of one of the premier voices covering local Savannah politics. I'm gonna get to this reading in a little bit here from the 3rd district. But suffice to say, I gather, I've said this to you privately lately, John, but I gather that the coalition of opposition against the status quo and business as usual in Savannah seems to be getting under the skin of several folks on the other side. And, for me, my perspective, I say, hey, great, means we're doing our jobs well. But Julius, you, ATR, Dr. Leonard Small, Unity in the Community Political Action Committee page, Amir Torre, Alicia Miller Blakely on Tuesdays, Candidly Keisha on Mondays, this kind of whole group of people that on policy issue after policy issue are on the same side, and others are kind of just rooting for business as usual. Give us your thoughts after seeing City Council in action for 18 whole months now, as of today, and especially this last 6 months.
Well, it's kind of sad and depressing because we helped Dietrich Legge get elected. Yeah. We helped Curtis Purdy get elected. So I had my whole crew out there. Curtis tried to pay me but I told him no. We were doing this as a service.
Yeah.
I had my whole crew out there. I paid to help Curtis. We were out in the corners every day holding signs and passing out literature for Curtis. He's been a disappointment. Dietrich Leggett has been a disappointment because Dietrich called me every night, every single night for
Me
6
too.
months
Me too.
leading up to the election. Big bro, what we gonna do? And then to see him get there. And what's a bigger disappointment also? And I love Linda, I do, but I hate her politics right now. She for 4 years, her and Alicia and Dietrich were on the same show.
Yep.
The same show.
Yeah.
They were talking about everything that they were going to do, that they were going to be the change agents.
I remember when Dietrich Leggett walked into Edna Jackson's State of the City speech with a child's coffin. Okay, acting like people don't know how to be activists and oh, you too cool for school now that you're elected. Man, I remember when you got beat 70-20 by Coach Holmes, man. We've been there with you. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize this, Julius, like we've been working, especially those of us for about a decade now, trying to push Savannah forward, really since the second Obama election in 2012. All these people were in and around there, and we went with them in 2015 and we lost, right? Everybody lost. And that was a preview of what Trump was coming the year after, after 2015. And I always told people that was like a fluke, Yeah. And so, Van Johnson has this opportunity to lead the most. I said this between Julius and us. We gave Van the most progressive council in history.
Yeah,
Van, everybody knew you were going to win, Van. We supported Regina to keep you honest.
The only person didn't believe they were going to win that election was Van Johnson. He was the only person
I've heard that.
Didn't believe he was going to win. We knew he was going to win. And when you're in politics, if you don't know the numbers, you got to hire somebody to do it for you. And I can tell you this right here today. Without the first district being in Van's corner, he cannot win another election. Without the fifth district being in his corner, he cannot win another election. He won by 5,800 votes, 5,400 votes, I believe, 5,400 votes that he won by in the runoff. He cannot win without the 7th district, which is the most powerful district, is the 7th district. He cannot win without the 2 at-large alderwomen. The 7th district is the most powerful. I know y'all looking saying, ain't but
6. I'm trying to speak on it here.
No, it's 7.
What is it? What's the 7th district?
That 7th district is a Leonard Smalls, Julius Hall, Monterey, all of us.
Yeah.
Chuck Fagan, John McMaster.
Yeah,
of us.
The 4th estate. I got you.
Well, I'll go back to the May 2020 primary in which we were supporting Jay Jones. And the week before, a bunch of people like Amir Torre endorsed Chester Ellis.
Yeah.
And that election gets decided by less than 1.5%.
Correct.
So, there's definitely some, he means like the 4th estate. I get it. The 5th wall, so to speak, coming in. I get that. I definitely think that it's going to be challenging. What I've said is that unless we get the right candidate, I don't think Van is beatable. I think he's very popular. Van is talented politically. He is very talented. That Obama thing he does where he does not change the tone of his voice, that is extremely effective, right? And so, I am, while I am going to continue to hold him accountable, I'm not really going into the back half of this term thinking that we're going to beat, we're going to cut the head off the snake. What I do believe is that the 4 people who are governing with him, that's Dietrich, Linda, Nick, and Curtis, are going to find it awfully hard to get reelected solely on the coattails of the mayor.
Well,
your thoughts?
Some people have to really get pissed with Nick for Nick not to be reelected, but the other 3 will catch pure hell. And like I said, I think Van's biggest thing is if he's running for re-election is he needs to come out here and hold some signs for me, because if I win, then I got to shut up.
Well, I was watching the meeting today with you, John.
Yeah.
Okay. They were talking about the Sweetwater Station development expansion, and the 6th District Alderman, Curtis Pertee, stood up there and said it's going to be affordable housing. These are going to be $250,000 homes, $250,000. That's what he thinks is affordable housing. I mean, like, what are you doing? You're going to sit up there and call a $250,000 home, single family home, affordable? Affordable for who?
Yeah.
For me? Yeah.
It's not even affordable for him.
on a policeman's salary, probably not. So I'm just astounded. We've been pointing out, and I've just said I'm going to continue to do this. If you're a public official and you stand up here and say dumb shit, okay, it's going to get pointed out. Okay, 2 weeks ago on the impact fee discussion, Dietrich Leggett, did you see this on our episode with Keisha last week, Julius? He stood up there after a 40-minute presentation from the city attorney, city manager, Bridget Liddy, MPC, Heath Lloyd, all of these professionals, right? Talk about impact fees. Dietrich Leggett gonna get up there and talk about, are we sure this isn't some form of extortion? like if that is your thought process here, you have a problem. I said this last week. I'm gonna say it again. That's a 9mm mindset in a .357 caliber world, and that's not what we need in government.
Yeah.
Let me take a bite at this apple just quickly. And it's a kinder view.
Okay, Hamilton.
Yeah.
This is the Alexander Hamilton thing.
I am a Federalist deep down inside.
Sure.
Look at Dietrich, Linda, and Curtis do not have the innate political savvy that Nick Palumbo has. Okay? Doesn't mean they're not confident and capable. All right? It's just Nick gets it intuitively or naturally, and for them, it requires more work. Now, I think once they got elected and they got overwhelmed with the, private dinners and campaign contributions and
non-public campaign contributions.
Yeah, well, we don't know that. The point is that a whole new world of opulence and income and wealth all of a sudden welcomed them in, and they became gobsmacked.
Yeah.
By it all. And at the same time, Julius, they were realizing that to deliver on many of the things that they campaigned on was going to be hard. It wasn't going to be easy. And these same benefactors that are inviting them to the pink house and writing them checks and giving them cash, they don't support the things they campaigned on. They didn't, rub it in their face, but they very carefully turned them around. And they just decided, you know what? It's easier to do a 180 than it is to deliver on what I campaigned on. And I'm sure Van was in the background saying, I gotcha. Just follow the program.
I know the exact line that was used, John.
What was it?
The exact line that was used was, the people who got you here are not going to be the people who keep you here. And when you realize that that's what happened, it just goes to show you that, vetting of candidates and their moral fiber is all the more important. After 2019, when we went into 2020, especially when COVID hit, it just became video. Say what you mean to these people. And then if you go into these offices and deny us, well, now we got you on tape and we're going to embarrass you.
Yeah. Well, don't give our secrets away, Chuck. Nobody will record with us.
I mean, well, not just us though. It's not even, but it's just all public statements. I mean, all these public statements are open kimono for use. I wanna pull this up now and just give me some leeway here because this posting from the third district alderwoman seemingly references the three of us and also the good Reverend Pastor Small, who is watching right now. I'm aware. I seen his comment here just a little while ago.
This is a public post.
Yeah. Well, John and I are blocked. I'm sure you are too at this point, Julius.
I am too.
I've been blocked since like March of last year from Linda on her page on Facebook.
We need badges. It says blocked by Linda.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So I've got this in 2 posts, and I'm not gonna try to read it in Linda's voice. I'm gonna read it in my plain voice.
Yeah, please.
And try to keep from laughing as I stumble through this Trumpian rant from the third district alderwoman. All right. The washed up old wannabe hippie and his untrusty wannabe political pundit from bitter Savannah, the wannabe Huey Newton and the sinister minister. Just know that God is watching all of you, and not just me. All of you together can't hurt his work. My enemy's enemy is my friend moments. Folks see it, and some folks know the real truth. I don't really have to comment about them, but I will. I know they collectively have said, well, a lot of lies, talking about people are selling out, calling folks Uncle Toms, poisoning people who trusted, believed, and were inspired by their 2020 vision lies. Stop asking me what I can't tell you, and today does it really matter? The main thing is, if the work doesn't prove to you or mean anything to you, then why would you think I am willing to talk about folks doing, well, basically nothing in my rearview mirror, talking about the work we are doing? You have a reference point. Y'all carry on. I'm so happy, in a good space and loving this job and marching to the music of all the people working and not worrying about negative, hurtful, disrespectful, evil, mean-spirited, narcissistic, jealous, backbiting wannabes. What can any of them say that will hurt more than losing my baby? They are just words and opinions, and just like butts, everyone has one. And the last time I looked, they keep showing theirs to all who will listen and hear the craziness. And for what? What people do they keep saying want them to act like? White folks laughing at us, black folks laughing at us. Everyone is laughing at us, basically. Let's see here. Everyone is laughing at us. I'm just going to say, for where I'm sitting, there is nothing funny. Cut, paste, and please share. So, like, not like tagging us, not like, putting this on her aldermanic page, but please, you citizens, cut and copy and paste and post this for me, right? The last little bit here, the greatest of all is love is stronger. It's just going back to her son, like comparing is if we don't challenge you, that's the only way to show respect about your son. If we disagree with you politically, that's disrespectful to some legacy. I think it's ridiculous, to call what we're doing here, speaking out, exercising our constitutional rights to redress our government, calling us evil. It's very Trumpian. It's the exact same language Trump was using leading up to January 6th. Am I off base here, Julius? Or am I just reading this as somebody who is a delusional person ranting?
You're right on point. And the crazy thing about it is, Chuck, that she has deleted her Facebook page, or she puts it in hiatus. And whenever she wants to say anything, or somebody tells her that somebody said something about her, then she activates it, say what she want to say, then deactivates it again so she can't see nothing. And it's crazy that she does these little crazy rants. Just do what you're supposed to do. She got a few months left. But one of the things I wanted to get to was with the whining and dining and what changed them. And you're right. That's what happens. They have been calling me to take me to lunch. They have been calling me and saying, hey, we're going to contribute to your campaign. And they have. I'm not lying. They have. But I tell them, Everybody must know this about me. You can give me whatever you want to give me, but I'm not for sale. I'm going to do what's right for the people of Port Wentworth. That's what's going to happen. We're going to have balance, smart balance in this city. And we're going to do some things that are awesome and make people come to this city as a tourist attraction also. Just to tell you a story, my wife is on the same wavelength. Contractor that you all know a consultant that you all know very, very well.
Probably ran for the school board a couple years ago.
Called my wife and asked her to come to lunch with some developers and some contractors. And say, what's a good day? Can you come to lunch? My wife said, well, what are we going to lunch for? Oh, I just want you to meet these guys. I want you to meet these gentlemen that they'll be coming before the board. My wife said, well, what we going to meet about? They just want to talk to you, get to meet you. She said, well, what day is that? He said, Monday. She said, well, I might not be hungry on Monday, so I can't go. I'm serious. That's what she told. She said, I might not be hungry, so I can't go. But you got to be able to tell these people, I'm just going to do what's right. When one person that I know in this whole county, that when they go to work as an elected official, if they're going to do the right thing I'm not dispersion on anybody because I love Alicia, Keisha, all everybody, but one person that I know for sure, 100%, is going to do the job of the students is Dr. Tanya Howard Hall. All she thinks about is the student. She don't care about nothing you say. She don't want to meet with you. She don't want to hear it. If you go to lunch with her, bring all the staff too. Because she went to lunch with them a few weeks ago, but there was a bunch of people there. So that's the kind of lunch she'll take. She's not for sale like Keisha Gibson Carter said.
Well, Julius, I hear what you're saying, and I love that same slogan that Keisha started with last year, not for sale. I loved her signs. The attacks against you are already rolling out. Mm-hmm. A long time ago in another career, you've been very upfront about this. You made a mistake, you paid for it, you served your time. And you are an asset to the community on the other side of that. I want to just give you a moment to respond to what are obviously going to not stop, just going to be attacks about, your record.
Well, they can look at it, but it's behind me 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to trip over something that's behind me. Only a fool would do that. Mm-hmm. It's ironic that the hands that once were cuffed is going to be in a position to uncuff the hands of Port Wentworth. That's what I plan to do. It's not about any income because the job doesn't pay anything. So it's not about the income.
$300 a week.
Yeah. With me,
a month.
It's about the outcome. If the outcome isn't worth it, then what are we in for? The people elect you. You got to stop going there acting like you're the one that elected yourself. You didn't do anything, So we have to be able to be smart about everything that we do. We have to be. It's just keeping a promise. If I make a promise to you, I believe that I should keep that promise. There were a lot of people campaigning during the last election, the one before that, the city elections, and they made promises, but there were promises made and promises broken. And I want to be one of those people that make promises and have promises kept. That's why I don't want to be brought by anybody. I'm going to do what's smart for the contractors and developers. I'm going to do what's smart for the residents. We're going to have balance in everything that we do.
Yeah, so that's a good word for it. In this profession or job, you can't make everybody happy. We all know that going into it. And the best thing that you can achieve is a fair, equitable balance between all the interests. And I really think the more I think about it, Julius, you seem like the right guy at the right time in the right community. That is the growth that Port Wentworth has experienced, which is, exponential and only going to continue. That city needs vision. It needs balance. It needs updating for what's currently going on and what's only going to continue. And you seem to have the right perspective on that. Let me back up to the city council deal. Julius, I am often I think about how Van speaks as if he's a strong mayor. Van does not. We all know he doesn't allow Keisha or Alicia or Estella, to get things on the agenda. He has, for all intents and purposes, kept a muzzle and a silencer on Nick and Linda and Dietrich and Curtis on his side. And I wonder what his foot soldiers, I think they want to have their voice, but they're denied a voice. Everything emanates from Van Johnson. Well, I understand not letting the opposition or the people that are pushing him get a toehold, but his own allies, they don't have much of a voice. I mean, I think he tells them, go out and create a social media presence, and that's how you speak.
Go take some Happy Meals around your district.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. But
trash cans.
Don't they have to be frustrated, or have they just come to accept this quiet acquiescence that Van's the daddy and the spokesperson, and we're just not going to say a word?
And that's a problem. Take me for instance. I like to be in the back of things. I want the people that are with me, even with my class. I had several organizations, many that y'all don't know about. And if you ever see a picture of me in these organizations, I'm in the back. I'm in the back. I don't want any glory. But the difference between he and I is that every time a camera or lights come on, he has to be in the front. These people don't have a voice. The only one you see say anything and the press loves is Nick Palumbo. Dietrich doesn't know how to talk. I think Linda got it.
Well, I noticed that Dietrich's getting some press for calling out Kroger, the only unionized grocery store in town. This is a labor-endorsed candidate going after a labor contract coming out of COVID.
Have you heard the latest? Have you read the latest out today? That Van and Dietrich are going to go to the Kroger.
They're going to go bag groceries.
Yes.
It's a PR campaign, obviously.
That's all it is. I said that this morning on one of the posts on Facebook, and the guy jumped all over me, talking about worried about Port Wentworth. Well, I own property in Savannah. I own a business. My business is headquartered out of Savannah. So I pay taxes in Savannah. So and I have ATR Media, which is my primary job. So, and that's my responsibility to bring the news. So if the news is part of whatever they're doing at City Hall, then that's what I'll do. I give the news the way that it's supposed to be disseminated. I'm not going to hold back anything because I'm running for mayor of Port Wentworth.
I want to make an observation, John. Honestly, the five of them, what they're doing, it's so insulting to the voters. And let me just explain why. At least Eddie DeLoach and Brian Foster and Bill, at least they had the nerve to stand up in front of you and tell you were wrong. Now, you know what? I'm going to govern this way because I think you're wrong. I can literally remember Eddie DeLoach just shaking his finger at me, calling me a liar, in front of 500 constituents at the JEA. At least they had the decency and respect to give an argument on policy, debate it, tell me I'm wrong, and say, I've got the power, I'm going to do it. These guys, they just think if we just PR our way out of this, our voters won't notice that we aren't making any strides on policy.
Look at Eddie was not an autocratic mayor at all. He was
he's a bumpkin small business owner. He's a nice guy who doesn't know a lot.
Yeah, Julian, you have some thoughts. Bill, what's your thinking on this?
And then we all do whatever Brian Foster, the CEO of First Chatham Bank, tells us.
That's behind the scenes.
Right.
With Van, you got to get some sort of pre-clearance before you can speak.
Yeah. And what he saw, John, he saw people that would outshine him. He knew that Alicia had a big voice and that she would outshine him. He knew that Keisha was incredibly smart and would outshine him. He knew that that Bernetta was a policy geek and would outshine him. He's not going to let anybody be on the same stage as he is and outshine him. That's not going to happen. Watch this guy. I've watched him and studied him, and I know him like a book.
Yeah, it's. I said it the other day. It's very Napoleonic, and that's a tragedy because if you really think about it, Julius, Van's single standout campaign promise was transparency. I guess it was only transparency for Van.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
I want to end. I know that you want to give a closing here in just a little bit, but I want to end our last topic about the weeping time. Pastor Small, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. Your comment is up on the screen. If Eddie DeLoach was the mayor, the weeping time property would be safe. It's a bold statement, and I have said, John, if we do not get the city council to do what's right, people in this town are going to find a government official somewhere that will. And it's not going to matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat at that point. It's not going to matter, about a governor's election coming up. The weeping time is the quintessential kind of test of this council. And 5 members are failing and 4 are not. Julius, this property is not far from where you live in the West Side, obviously. You work with Van for a long time. He's known about this for 15 years. This isn't something new to him. He's the West Side alderman when they discovered it. I am going to tell these white aldermen that they need to come to grips with their racism about this issue. But, I can't really say that to Van, Dietrich, and Linda. Why are they upholding this Salvation Army project?
Well, the same thing, Chuck. Just like you, we see that there is some reason why Dietrich, Curtis, and Linda changed their minds about how they were going to govern, opposite of what they promised on the campaign trail. Why did Van change his mind on what should be happening in West Savannah? Van has not. I would venture to bet that he's not even traveled down Augusta Avenue since he's been elected. I'm serious. He forgot all about that place. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I like I said, I don't want to talk to him, but I talk about him too much. But he gives you so much to talk about when you're in the news. There's only one place that, like Dr. Ann Bailey said, that you could put the weeping time. One place on this planet, and that is there. I lived on that exact spot. I grew up in Francis Botto Projects.
Okay.
Stayed there from when I was in the 6th grade to the 8th grade, from the 5th grade to the 8th grade. I grew up there. Talked to many of my friends who grew up there with me now. We're all friends. But you can put a Salvation Army anywhere.
That's right.
Anywhere. But you can't put the weeping time but one place on this planet. So why anybody thinking about that? Why isn't the Salvation Army even willing to come to the table? It's something bigger. It's something way bigger than this long range plan. Believe. Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and close us out, with kind of your plea for Port Wentworth and for ATR. I know that you're announcing officially tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. at City Hall.
Won't be there but 15 minutes, so y'all be on time if you're
I
coming.
like that. I like that.
Please. I believe in being on time. What I want to tell the voters of Port Wentworth, and I want everybody out there to listen to me. This is going to be an exciting ride. We're going to do some great things that this administration, who is ran by a bunch of people that seem to want to halt the progress. But I can tell you one thing, and I have a message for them. Everybody that don't want change, y'all can understand what I'm about to tell you. I want you to go out and tell them that there's a new government coming. We're going to do some exciting things. I want you to tell them that I'm coming and vision is coming with me. I'm coming and accountability is coming with me. I'm coming and transparency is coming with me. I'm coming, Chuck, and accessibility is coming with me. I'm coming, John. Diversity is coming with me. I'm coming. Balance is coming with me. I'm coming, and all the citizens of Port Wentworth is coming with me. I'm coming, and fairness is coming with me. I'm coming, and opportunities for everybody is coming with me. I'm coming, and a brighter future for the city of Port Wentworth is coming with me. And I'm coming. You go tell them I'm coming, and change is coming with me.
Boy, that's a powerful preview of a good speech I think is going to happen tomorrow. We got Alderman Thomas Barbee saying amen, amen, amen. I'm sure we'll see him tomorrow night at the announcement. I want to just, again, thank you for coming on our show, Julius. We appreciate what you're doing with ATR, and we're looking forward to supporting you and others in this race because this might be the only election in town this year. I think
we got
half a pool or two.
No, you got Bloomingdale, you got Tybee, you got Garden City, Port Wentworth, and Garden City, Port Wentworth, and Bloomingdale. Then you got Tybee and Thunderbolt.
Well, we're gonna have to go convince Gary's wife to let him run again over in Garden City for something. One
thing I want to bring to you all's attention before I
go ahead.
Tonight, I want y'all to look and understand that this is ordained, and what I do, I didn't want to run. God put me in a place to make me run. I've been disobedient for a long time, but I have now understood what obedience means when you're given a vision. If you look at my name and you look at the last two letters of my name, you get us. If you look at the last three letters of my last name, you get all. And it's about us all. It's about us all. I'm not going to be the mayor of part of Port Wentworth. I'm going to be the mayor of all of Port Wentworth. Everybody might not like what I'm going to do, but it's going to be for the betterment of Port Wentworth. All right.
Gosh, we're sure glad you're in the race. We're obviously going to follow it very closely. And I'm sure in the very near future, we'll ask you back. Hopefully you'll want to come back, and maybe we'll bring your opponent, extend an invitation to him, and we'll have a good, healthy, thorough discussion of the issues and the policies. And I'm just glad you're in the race and wish you all the best, Julius.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, John, that was another great interview here on Better Savannah Discussions.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how that race develops. I hope it's a one-on-one race for him. Straight up, I think that would be probably the best. Answering some of the questions in the comments. Miriam, the current mayor of Garden City, is Gary Norton, was elected a couple years back. No one else is running so far in the race except for Mr. Hall. we talked a little bit earlier in the episode about, Port Wentworth is one of the smaller suburbs. It's growing fast, the fastest growing, very fast growing, but it's a smaller suburb, probably somewhere between 10 and 15,000 residents.
They need modern progressive leaders.
They have to modernize
really
completely.
Do.
They're very much kind of behind the times. I also want to put this comment back up on the screen. For those of us who will listen to this on the podcast platform, one of our live listeners says, may history look upon the mayor and these aldermen with shame for what they're doing to the weeping time, trying to erase it from history. I really meant what I said, John. I think it's a term defining issue in kind of the way that the fire fee was a term defining issue for the Eddie Loach administration, that led most of them to lose. I mean, besides the bond, I mean, for me personally, the bonds were the biggest issue, but I think for most Savannah citizens, the fire fee was just instantly recognizable with Eddie DeLoach and crew. And this weeping time might be the same thing.
The river Rubicon for them, if you will.
Oh, I definitely think they've crossed the Rubicon.
Yeah.
And well, last year, 2019, 2020, John, the five was governing very well and cohesively. And if you look so far in this year in 2021, they're kind of taking L after L after L.
Well, Chuck, it's an interesting observation because when you said that, I immediately thought back, and you're absolutely right. There were actually 6, and it was just Tony, Estella, and Van were the odd people out.
Yes.
And they commanded, those 6 commanded with such authority and such command that if you would have said, yeah, they're all going to be voted out, you would have said, no way, not possible. And here we are again with a mayor and 5 votes for a total of 6 again that are pushing the limits, whether it's the weeping time or restricting access and democracy to the agenda for the people. Hey, lightning can strike twice here, and my hope is that it does. I don't think the voters are stupid, not for 1 minute. I think they may not know all the details, but all they have to know is the essence of it, and the essence is not great.
I just meant what I said, stop insulting your voters. We don't care, about what community service you're doing. That is a pebble and a ripple in the stream that is not moving the needle on the bigger issues. I don't care what dogs are up for adoption this week. I'm sure somebody in your district does. But again, the majority probably doesn't. I just think, again, thinking back to people we fiercely oppose, at least they had the decency to have a legitimate argument and stick by it and debate you on it. I'm just a little disheartened that, we really can't even get. I mean, I'd love to have Van. Van, you're welcome to come on here. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of people would love to see you debate me or John, and I'd be willing to go 50-50 on whatever charity you want and whatever charity we decide on. We'll sell tickets to the event, and you can come and give us a legitimate debate and explanation, and we'll put it behind a paywall so everybody won't see it. We'll raise money for a charity because, I don't think anybody's going to give you a real debate until election time.
Yeah. Well, there were some days, Chuck, where I would, since I'm retired and since COVID was going on, I spent a lot of time here in this space with this computer. And, I would see Van Johnson social media presence 5, 6, 7 times a day.
That's the number one thing I hear from citizens. When I ask them what do they think about the mayor, they go, well, he sure likes attention.
Well, let's take that one step further. And I think you're absolutely correct. The general public has seen Van over and over and over and over, to the point, Chuck, that with that presence comes some expectation of accomplishment. And unfortunately, I think Van has overplayed his social media presence and his autocracy of style. And when we start pointing out in the election season what hasn't got done, it's going to be a little tough to overcome. The two are not going to link up.
I don't want to say too much right now, but I will just repeat and intimate what I said a little while ago. This weeping time issue is a bad deal, not just for the history, for the present, but politically. Because again, we are not going to give up if the city council pushes this through. Okay. There will be other governmental entities that have a chance to weigh in on this property before it's all said and done. And I would just hate to see what the political ramifications are going to be like with a Republican governor, being the one to come in and save that property.
We'll enough on council in the next election, Chuck, to take it back and restore it to where it belongs.
I sure hope so, but I don't know if there's enough time to wait till 2023 for that issue. And I'll just say it to you straight away. And I hope that my political consultant friends in Atlanta will be listening. You want Stacey Abrams to win in 2022, don't give him this issue, because if Brian Kemp comes in and saves this property, that's going to go a long way towards smoothing re-election over for him, and earning votes. I don't personally want that, but am I going to give Brian Kemp props if he steps in and seizes this property to save it from this local government? 100% I will. Yes, I will. Yep. And probably so will most of the other people that are in support of this issue. Even a broken clock is going to be right twice a day. And if this is the time it's going to be right for a Brian Kemp, I'm sure going to definitely enjoy that. So we need to see what shakes out. But we got a couple of good episodes coming up, John. Like I said, we should be having Terry Tolbert on next week. I think the following week we won't have a live episode, but we should have Chuck Watson from Enki on for that episode. So I'm just really looking forward to those two. And I know people are traveling in and out of the summer. I just want to once again say, guys, we really appreciate you viewing this live stream tonight. For those of you who will catch this on Spotify tonight and tomorrow, we appreciate you listening. You can catch live episodes on our Facebook or YouTube channel. Links will be in the description. We'll also link to Julius Hall's campaign for mayor and, of course, his media company, All Things Relevant Media, on both Facebook and YouTube. John, am I missing anything on our housekeeping items here, or you got any other final thoughts for us?
No, I just want our viewers to know that in 2 weeks I'm going to return to California and
good for you, man.
And pick up where I left off with my survey of dispensaries and taquerias. My work is not complete, Chuck.
I need you to send us a video that I can upload for a stream for sure.
I will do that.
I need you to do that for sure. It's got to support Better Savannah, and we'll bring this to Georgia sooner or later. Let's go. Hey, we don't have to get serious on port fees and container fees if we get, cannabis fees, cannabis taxes. Just saying. Yeah. That's a question for Derek Malo and others in the delegation, I guess. But just saying that there's some other ideas. But again, it's another great episode. I really appreciate Julius Hall coming by to talk about his run for mayor of Port Wentworth, talk about ATR, and of course his commentary on the city of Savannah is quite unique and priceless. So I just want to thank him again. If you guys, if it's Thursday, try and catch us here on Facebook, YouTube. I had a lot of viewers on both networks tonight. And again, we appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next Thursday. Okay, guys?
Good work, Chuck.
Thanks so much. You too, John.
All right.
I appreciate our tourism community. I appreciate our hoteliers.